Okay, so what we are looking at here is this first exam question. Describe two main features of the transportation of wounded soldiers. So this is an 8-mark question. We should be expecting to spend about 10 to 12 minutes on that question. Just realised you can't actually see my pen. As you will have seen in your video, this is asking us to give two main features of the transportation of wounded soldiers. So I'm only going to be talking about that transportation of wounded soldiers. I'm not going to be thinking about any other aspect. My two features I'm going to look at here are probably going to be the actual transportation of them and then conditions once they arrive in Scutari. Okay, so thinking about what the question has asked me to do, I need to make sure that I'm giving two different aspects and I'm giving detailed knowledge that's clearly linked to the conditions in Crimea. So I'm going to talk you through the first paragraph. We're going to do this one together, and then you're going to do the conditions on arrival, so things like the fact that they had to be dragged up a hill once they got there, the lack of horses to be able to take them up the hill, the lack of stretchers. You'll do that one on your own, but use the same sort of format as I've used for the first one. So copy this one down as I go, or once I've done it, pause it and copy it out. And then the next one you do on your own and submit the whole thing to your teacher. So I'm going to start off by using the language of the question. So I would say one main feature of the transportation of the wounded was that the soldiers were required to be taken from Crimea across the Black Sea remember I've got capital letters there to Scutari. Okay, so notice here I've used the language of the question and I've kind of given a general focus. But now what I need to do is to make sure, because this is asking me to describe two features, so now I need to give lots of specific knowledge, okay? So I would talk about the shortage of the shipping space. So there were very few ambulances. Taken to Crimea. And therefore there was no formal chain of evacuation. At Balaclava, the shipping port, soldiers could be left for days before they were taken, or before they boarded the ship. On which conditions were very crowded. With some ships that were meant to take 250 soldiers instead with around 1,500. On board, soldiers did not have any shelter. And barely any access to food and water, as well as only one surgeon between them. One doctor called the conditions unutterably foul. Full stop. Okay, so that's my first paragraph. I don't need to link back to the question or anything like that to explain, because my question is only asking me to describe. I just need to go into a lot of depth because I get 8 marks for this question. So what you need to do now is to write the other feature. We've done one feature here on the transport itself. Now I want you to talk about the conditions on arrival. So if you need to revisit your mind map, then please do. And then use again the language of the question. Another feature of the transportation of the wounded was, okay? And remember, it's talking about the transportation of wounded soldiers, and that you need to make reference to what it was like in Crimea. If you have any questions, ask your teacher and then submit the full answer once you are done. If you need to add more paper, then just slot it into your booklet. Good luck.